lads and I are going fishing. We're hiking about 6.5 miles into this cool lake up here. I wanted to show you a little bit of this. This is birch bark. This stuff's great for all kinds of stuff. You can see that the actual tree in the center is rotted out. You just shake the tree out, there's a hollow piece. That'll actually ignite really easily, even when wet. So this stuff has enough resin in it that even when soaking wet, it'll just spark right up. So we'll take a chunk of this and we'll go spark it later. Some other things that you can use might be a little wet and they don't burn that well. Like over here you have some serviceberry branches. That stuff, if it's wet, if you can come find some of this. Let's say this stuff is really moist, which it is kinda, right there. I can take that, put it in my nifty tender drying case, and which is just in my pocket. By the time I get to camp, it'll be totally dry and I can spark a fire with it. A little bit about gathering water out here. This ice will yield you a lot more than snow. So if you have an option to melt ice or snow, always melt ice. It a quicker melting point than snow. What'll happen is snow in the bottom of your pot will heat up, and it'll actually melt the snow, and then that water will just absorb it in the snow above. But this ice, you can see even just holding it for a second in my hot little mitt will create water. My pants underneath are a little wet, which isn't bad if I was really thirsty. Another way you can do is actually wring that material out for some good drinking water. And that's just been melted snow. It hasn't like I was walking in a bog or anything. You wouldn't want to do that. So we're finally made it to this lake. And spread out, boys. The ice is questionable at best. I was sinking in over there. I can make a foot stomp right there in it. Really, on this kind of ice, I don't want to sit here and fish, especially with 3 dogs and their added weight right around me. Normally, on stuff like this, you'd want to have a stick in your hand. If I were to fall in, ooh, hey, that'll work though. I can ice fish here. If I were to fall in, that stick's gonna displace my weight and take the effort off me. I'm gonna go set up a camera and set up a little ice fishing hole, see what we can do. We're gonna I've got a pocket knife on me, that's it. So we're gonna take advantage of this already half cut one and make a ice fishing. An auto ice fisher. An automatic ice fishing device. Anything to actually use for bait would be pretty hard to come by right now. You might be able to dig through some of this stuff, but a lot of that stuff would be frozen. Let's build the thing first, then we'll look. So you can see I was walking out here. The edge of the lake will always thaw first. And it's like walking on. It feels like the consistency of a brownie that hasn't been cooked long enough. Oh, it'll get you though. Alright, so we're going to want to make a cross-like joint stick deal. Put it in the snow, you don't have to hold it, and then I don't have to whack my hand off. I can just sit there and do everything from a safe distance with the dog running around me. We're going to make a cross piece longer than the hole, obviously. My ice fishing hole is going to be only about that big because I don't trust that ice and I don't want to punch a bigger hole. So this is all going to be reliant upon tensile strength. That fish isn't going to be able to pull this stick apart. So I'm going to make a little notch spot to where that line can be tied around and affixed and not lost. I'm going to go grab some, I guess I'll use some fishing line. Now if you wanted, you could actually use other cordage. You could find something and make out here. You just got to make sure it's strong because you don't ever want to catch a fish and have it in trouble. Caught with a line and then you can't get it. That'd be horrible. So now we're going to fix these together with this fishing line. There's no particular knot combination or anything like that. Never actually fished this lake. So that'll be cool. It's the holy ice fishing contraption. Right, got that guy pretty much well tied together. Now I'm just going to do a square knot. For those of you that don't know knots, that's a knot, that's a square. Fish are really low. In the winter they're going down to the bottom usually. Warmer water, better food source, better mood lighting. Fishy business. Okay, so you go through, where the hook's sliding back and forth. Take a chunk like that. You go back through. This is the badass knot, I'm telling you. If it breaks, it won't be at this knot. Unless there's a sea monster under there. You hold a little loop like that. Okay, so we wound it around 10 times. We're going to stick it back through. I kind of didn't explain the winding part, but you literally just wind it around the main line. Then pull it back. Always lick it. I don't know if you saw me do that. I'm not just really into fishing line. You wet your knot down before you tie it and it'll actually be a lot stronger. Put that hook in there so I don't catch a damn Doberman. And go look for some bait. So these are great. These are cattails. This part here, if you look at it, you can make some gnarly insulation out of that. I can make a travel pillow. A travel pillow. Can find grubs in this kind of destroyed undergrowth here. Oh, hey. So there I found something. Found a wee little wormy. Don't lose that worm. Keep them in your hand, keep them warm and wriggling. But it's when you're ice fishing. A lot of people that don't do it a lot, what they'll do is they'll put their stuff in the water and come back later and it'll be frozen around the whole deal, so that's not good. The ice that I came and broke up earlier is already frozen almost. Fish trap. Check. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so what happens when you fall in the water is you should have had a fire already in place. Dogs, get away from that hole. What I'm going to do now, since I'm soaked, I might as well show you some things. It's a beautiful day at least. But if I was out in Mongolia or something, that would suck. So anything that I need to take out that's going to be damaged by water, I'm going to yank that out right now. Get away from that hole, you'll fall in just as easy. And I went to my crotch. So, at least we're in a time we don't have to sit here and freak out. So I rolled around the snow. That's going to suck off all the extra moisture, right? Now this snow is really moist though. So what we're going to do is while we're passively fishing there, I'm going to go build a little fire and dry myself off. So I didn't mean to do that one. I just tested that other hole. Oh man, training's kicking me in, but I don't have to really worry because my Jeep's only 6.5 miles away. If that would have gone deeper, my arms are the only thing that stopped me. If I was like this, I would have gone straight down. So what we're going to do, we're going to go build a little fire, check our fish trap in a little bit. One cool thing about this is I can set up multiple fish traps, right? And what'll happen is if a fish bites that sticks me will boing and go erect. So I could check this whole field if I had 5 ice traps from here and see who has a fish and who doesn't. So earlier I was saying you should never go across the lake in spring and all that good stuff. And anytime you go across the lake, you should always have a fire ready beforehand. Where all you got to do is spark it or light it or whatever you got to do. I didn't when that happened, but kind of got a secret. And my buddies and I come here quite a bit, and there's this little cave with some wood already here. So we're gonna get into here. Let's Start us a fire in this wet nastiness. This is a cool cave though. This is just another example of how you should always try and look for shelters before you invest a bunch of energy into them. Okay, fire pit soaking wet. If you're gonna build on fire, or if you're gonna build a fire and it's soaking wet, or you're gonna build it on snow, always at a, am I still recording? Always at a deck. Okay, what I mean by a deck is put some kind of dry something down. Substance, substrate, whatever. So what doesn't happen is that the moisture and the cold temperatures steals all the energy from your fire. Fire needs fuel, heat, and oxygen. You take one of those things away and it's just going to go toast. So if you try and build with good fuel and a good amount of oxygen on a very cold surface like snow or ice or wetness, that's just not going to work. So what I always like to do is build a deck, something like that. That'll basically allow me to build a fire on top. By the time it actually gets to the moisture part, it's going to have enough heat to just dry that out and continue burning whatever else is down there. Alright. There's a natural heat deflector right behind it. You always want to build one of those. Bounce the heat back, you get quite a bit more. Well, this will help dry my soakiness off. As you can see, my pants and my crotch, they're all soaked. That was a good dunk. That was a dunkaroo and a half. You can kind of see maybe all the moisture. Ooh, don't burn the stand up. That deck is keeping the fire away from. If that wasn't there, none of this would have started because it would have just put it out with moisture and the cold would just sap the heat and it wouldn't have gone anywhere. By the time it actually burns through those twigs, through the deck here, all the way down to the moisture-laden ground, it'll have dried that ground out. So decks are huge. So I checked the trap, even though it wasn't enough. The trigger on it wasn't pulled hard enough. There's a fish on it. Whoa. This is our first fish. Okay. Go. Let me show you. Thank you, guys. Be gentle. And you just pull them out like that. That's what we've been fishing for today. So when you're catching fish like this, you want to use everything. If you're not eating it, you're using it to trap. That's what I would do. Is if I'm, not going to eat the heart and the liver of that fish, then I will. Okay, come on, buddy. I'm just going to yank you out. You don't feel any more of that, anyways. Use it for trapping. Use the cattail to preserve my fish from the dogs. Cool, successful. And you got to see it, that was neat. Want to go set it again? Might as well. Come on, boy.